The puppy you received from the Big Show on Smackdown. Always wondered whose it really was.
Yeah, so that dog, it wasn't my dog. It wasn't anybody's dog on the crew.
You spent your hard-earned money on Patreon for that one.
All right, man. You want to try it one more time?
We're here again.
We are here again.
Gluttons for punishment.
Are we the gluttons or is our audience the
audience.
gluttons? I don't know which one it is, but I figured we'd give it another shot. I'm a little, I'm kind of reacclimated to Texas time. And
Yeah.
It's a nice shirt, by the way.
It is. And you can get it over at 6feetundermerch.com.
Yep.
This is the Move shirt. This is the shirt where you knocked out Braun in the ring wearing this shirt.
I've got a lot of comments on that shirt.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm reacclimated to Texas time again. I'm not living
In
Australia. Man, it was weird. It took a couple of days, like for it to really sink. Like the first day I got home, like I slept like a baby. And then the next day I slept less, and then the next day I don't know why it took so long to catch up with me, but I don't know. It could be all the construction and everything else, and carpenters walking through my bedroom while I'm trying to sleep. I don't know. This thing, man. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. People that don't know, I've been building this house now for what? 3 years?
Yeah.
3 years.
And it's not that it's so massive that it's taking 3 years. It's just you decided to do this at the worst time in the history of construction.
Yes, absolutely worst timing, and then just dealing with permits and all of that. But it all started around COVID.
Yeah.
And
because your neighbor's getting their house built, and it's gone up like that.
It seems like that, right? Like, I'm like, holy crap, is their house going up fast? Like, I think they're like trying to catch up, because what happened is the builder that's building the house next to me, Michelle fired, or she had me firing. But
that's the same builder?
It's the same builder.
Oh my God.
So I think he's trying to prove something. I don't know. So
have you seen him out there?
So I've seen him a couple of times. I mean, we're cordial, but
it's business.
Business is business. But I think they're working like extra hard. But it has been such a disaster. Like people, if they had seen what I was living in for that first 2 years, I mean,
all I wanted to do was a documentary. How athletes lose all their money.
I think that's already been done, but it would have been great. I can't tell you how many times people would come up. Like, it's funny, even though we were living in total squalor. It's amazing.
Squalor. It was very small house for you and Michelle, and two kids and a dog and everything else.
Yeah, so it was a little tight. But the Amazon truck still showed up. UPS showed up. Yeah, and when you're out there, you want to be outside, right? That was why we bought this property, and it's beautiful. And but these trucks would roll up sometime, and I'd be outside in one of my pod units, and these drivers would come up, and it doesn't take long usually for people to recognize me, and you could almost see their faces sometimes. Like they would get out of the truck, and then there's the initial, but then for 2 years it was kind of like, and then they start looking around at the at the storage units that are stored on the property, and then this sub 1,300 square foot modular home that we were living in, and you could just almost see it in their face, the pity, like, oh man, he must have did drugs or something. He just spent all his money. Now he's sitting out here in the woods in this little bitty house. And
hey, the funny thing is, if if you were a single man, that's probably what you'd be.
Dude,
you'd be
I would
living
have zero problems with it if I.
Even if it was just like you and Michelle. I feel like you were.
Dude, man, I would totally be fine.
Yeah.
So, and then you know what I did. Like, I built the guest house and my gym first, thinking that those would go up relatively quick, and then then we could move out of the modular house into the guest house, which was a huge upgrade, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, it was like, damn, man, we're like the Jeffersons.
Yeah,
we're moving on up. And but now, so we're actually in the house.
Yeah.
We're actually in the house now. But there's still tons of like work going on.
Little things are being done.
Yeah, and there's always people in the house. But dude, like,
it's got to feel good to be in there. Like, we were in there yesterday, and it's nice to you got some elbow room.
You got a little
there.
bit of elbow room in there. Me and Kaya can full on play pass in the living room.
Yeah.
Without really having to worry about knocking anything off. But it's also like, I'm not used to it. Like, I'm used to everything being 2 steps and picking it up. And now I was like, crap, man. Why did I put the office so far away from the kitchen? Or why? It's like,
you got to put you a little. You got to get you a little mini fridge.
I do got to get a
something.
little mini fridge, because
Yeah.
if I'm in the office, man, I was like, I have to contemplate. Do I want to get up and walk all the way over there? And it's not like, it's not anything stupid, but it's just like, from what we've lived in for the last couple of years to where it is now, it's.
Well, I know you're happy to see that kind of come to an end and actually just be in your home. That. Yeah, I feel like ever since, so the first time I ever came to your house, you were still living in the other house, but y'all were packing it up. And we had gotten there, and because we came over and watched UFC. I was in town. I was in the little RV.
You were in the RV in this is Rudy Poo neighborhood.
We were not going to be talking about this at all today, but I was in that little RV coming to the neighborhood. This is a nice neighborhood you live in, and I'm riding around in this podunk looking Uncle Eddie, Cousin Eddie RV.
How I didn't get a letter or something from the HOA on that one.
But y'all were packing up then,
Yeah.
and I don't know how long ago that was. I mean, that feels like it's been a while.
It has been a long process.
Because y'all had a bunch of stuff packed up, boxes in the garage.
Yeah.
And like, it was just, because in your house, I think most of because you had that, like, you had your living room and then you had like a little TV sitting room or whatever.
Yeah.
That you still had your furniture in. I think your living room was essentially cleared out
empty.
at that point.
Yeah.
And
it's all in storage units around town still.
Have you forgotten how many storage units you've got?
No. I get reminded every month how many I have. So I had, at one point, I had 3 pods that were on the property.
Yeah.
Plus the old barn that was on the property is full of stuff. The 3 pods, they're all gone now. The last one left this morning. And then I have 4 storage units full of stuff around
The
town.
funny thing is when you did the A&E.
Oh, the Lost Treasures?
The Lost Treasure. So when that was done, a couple people at work or whatever, they were like, asking me about it for some reason. I'm like, I didn't even know that he was filming this. Like,
Right.
he doesn't. I don't control his schedule by any means. But I said, I will tell you this. I can guarantee you there was nothing staged about the fact that he's got memorabilia probably stacked up in a storage unit that he's forgotten about.
Man.
I was like, that, I can guarantee you is real. I was like, there was nothing about that was a setup.
Nothing.
I was like, he's probably got stuff in storage units that people would probably pay top dollar to get their hands on.
Yeah. Michelle actually made me move all the stuff out of that particular unit, move it somewhere else. Like, she went in and then separated it all and put it in new bins, and then I had to go pick it all up and go move it to somewhere else because she was worried somebody was going to break in and steal it. But,
well, hopefully
it would have helped me. It would have helped me out. I wouldn't have had to deal with it.
It's less that you
I'm like, I'm not that attached to it. And she's like, well, what about the kids? And I'm like, I mean, what are they going to do with it? They go like, oh, Dad used to wear this. Put it in the closet or put it in the attic.
Yeah.
And,
It's like my when I got out of the military, Amy like kept one of my uniforms or something, or a couple of my uniforms, and I'm like, I'm a Goodwill guy. Let's just take it all to Goodwill, you know. And she's like, man, this means so much. And I was like, we don't have kids. Who wants my old uniform? I was like, that makes no sense to me. I was like,
I've been like 3 years in this process, right? And we put all this stuff up, you know, like, oh, well, you know, we'll do this with it, we'll do that with it. You know, I told you I just sold my ranch, right?
Yeah.
I sold that. So I have a Connex out there that is full of stuff. And my realtor come up to me yesterday. He goes, hey, what do you want to do with that storage locker you got out there? And I was like, I don't care, man. Just, you know,
it comes with the place.
Yeah. He goes, what's in there? And I was like, there's probably a really nice generator in there. There's all that furniture you were talking about that was in the TV room. I said, all that's in there. I said, there's tools and stuff. I was like, you know what? Just get one of your, you know, send some of your guys that are on the crew that's been working on the house, send them out there. They can have it. And he was like, I said, I'm not attached to anything. I hadn't used it. I hadn't been in that storage locker in 3 years. Like,
what's the quote from Heat? It's like, you can't be attached to anything that you can't.
Oh,
like
that you can't get up and move.
Yeah, within 15 minutes or something like that, if the heat gets on you.
I'd be a hell of a criminal. I could disappear quick.
Yeah. I
wouldn't need anything other than, you know.
So my wife likes to hold on to things. So whenever she's like out of town or something,
you got to sneak around.
And we do Goodwill trips and everything. And it's usually about every couple of months she'll text me, "Hey, have you seen this?" I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? What? Huh? I didn't even know we had that. Yeah. You didn't take it to Goodwill, did you? I really needed that.
No,
not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I'm not.
No, I don't.
I'm not attached to many things. There's like 3 or 4 material possessions in my life that are like, if the house catches on fire, of course I'm grabbing, you know, the wife, the dogs, and stuff. But there's like 3 or 4 things that actually mean something to me that are in my house that I would want to grab. But even if I didn't grab those, it is what it is.
It is what it is, right? Yeah.
But no,
I would make an effort to get probably my guns, but make sure everybody's safe.
Well, we know enough people. You can probably get those replaced. All mine, I don't have any guns. They're that boating accident. They're all at the bottom of the sea, man. I have 0 guns. The government does not need to come to my house to try to confiscate my guns.
Roger that.
They got lost in a boating accident.
Copy.
All right, so we were not going to talk about that at all, but talking about your old memorabilia, someone that was part of probably some of that memorabilia that's in that storage unit that was right there by your side at some point. Man, the great Paul Heyman.
Hall of Fame, man.
He got the phone call.
I think, you know what, well deserved too. Man, he is. Not only has he got like a brilliant mind, like a brilliant wrestling mind, but man, even for as long as he's been involved in the business and around, he's still so passionate. And he's one of those guys, like Paul Bearer was the same way with me. Like when he was managing Brock, and obviously now he's managing, you know, Roman Reigns. He's managed. He is so invested in those guys and their well-being, their decision-making. And he was very instrumental, Paul. I mean, I didn't even know. For somebody that's been in the business for as long as I have, I'm the most out-of-touch person with trends and how things are referenced.
Really?
Yeah, really. I
I
didn't even know there was a thing until like in the last, maybe the last 5 to 10 years that it was a thing to be a Paul Heyman guy. Like
Really?
I did. Yeah.
'Cause I love Paul Heyman.
No,
I mean,
no. But there's like the guys that work for him, like with ECW.
Oh, you're talking about a guy that's been managed by Paul
manage
Heyman.
him, or that Paul's had his hands on. You're like, oh, he's a Paul Heyman guy, right? Like, and I was probably one of the originals.
Yeah.
Not even really aware of it because he managed. He was managing me. When I went solo in WCW after Danny left, they put Paul with me, and he was so instrumental in like keeping me sane, really, because I was so frustrated there with what they were doing with me, and obviously the infamous meeting that I had with WCW's upper management, and he was such an advocate for me in the sense of getting me to Bruce, who would eventually get me to Vince and that whole thing. But he was a little better off than I was. Like, I wasn't making any money. A lot of times, he would just pick up the rental cars instead of us splitting it, or he'd help me out when he could. And but the biggest, obviously the biggest contribution on my part with him was just that connection to get me out of WCW and into just into an opportunity.
Yeah.
With WWEF, whatever.
What is that? What's that manager role like? I think it's always weird. Like, you look at a manager, like, what's his outside of the storytelling that they can do outside that ring, and being able to, typically every single manager has to be really good on the mic and stuff like that, right? But what does it look like backstage? What is that relationship? It was a guy like a Paul Heyman. Did he feel like he was really my manager, like he was really my advocate? Was he that type of person even backstage?
Yeah. There's a lot of time, and Paul, if he's passionate about an idea, or his guy is passionate about an idea, I mean, he will flat out go to battle, right? I mean, and it's not his hill really to die on, but he will.
Yeah.
I mean, he truly is representing what they feel is the best move for where they're positioned. And not every manager is like that. Not every manager is not as invested as Paul.
Yeah.
Paul is. I mean, Paul can be brash, and he can say some things that ruffle your feathers, but overall, he's very smart about the business.
Did he have input on the matches, like for different things that would happen during the match? Like, let's say, you and Roman were going to wrestle, and you've got Paul as, Roman's guy or whatever, and you and Roman are going to sit down and have that conversation maybe before you go out, whether it's that morning or, leading up to the match. Does Paul sit down as well and put any input?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's totally invested.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, too, he'll go and relay things that maybe, like, his guy doesn't want to do. Hey, what do you think about this? Paul earns his money, man. He does a really, really good job of advocating for his guys. And, like I said, not everybody's that invested, but he'll fight and argue and try and get his point across and change people's minds, and that's what you want. You as a talent, sometimes, like, you're trying to focus on, okay, I have to focus on this match and whatever that might be. So it's nice to have somebody who is so knowledgeable of the business going in there and not necessarily say politicking, but being an advocate.
Yeah.
I've used that word a couple times now, but doing the dirty work kind of part of it. And he's got the gift of gab. Another one of those guys that not quite as good as Vince, but he could sell quite a bit of ice to Eskimos.
I can imagine. Would a manager, whether it be Paul, whether it be a Cornette or a Paul Bearer or whoever, was there moments where during the match maybe they saw something that was going on in the match and they put some type of input even during the match? Maybe you go outside into the ring and they come over there and they're maybe punching you, stomping you, whatever, and maybe they're helping turn the match a certain way. Maybe
I'm sure that's happened. I don't ever recall it happening with me, but I'm sure. Like, there's just certain times certain guys get in situations where they don't know what to do, and I think he would definitely be one of those guys. Like, okay, hey, you need to you need to bring it now. You need to get up there and bring it to him.
And I would imagine there's guys like Paul and Bear and Cornette and stuff that could stand outside that ring and see, man, this match ain't going great.
Right. Right.
And those were the types of guys that could bring influence into a match and get the crowd, especially like a Cornette, right?
Yeah.
And a Paul Heyman, who are just heels beyond heels, in their own right. Even if the Midnight Express was, baby faces, Cornette could.
Oh, absolutely.
He was a heel no matter what, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I would imagine there was nights where they could look out in that crowd and the pop wasn't there. The match might not be going the way they think it should be going. It might not be just crisp. And they could do something to really turn it around.
Oh yeah,
on their own.
Yeah, guys like Cornette and Hayman and Heenan. I mean, they knew they know they know the product, and they know sometimes that they how they can interject and bring more to when it needs to be.
Yeah.
And then like guys like that, Cornette and Hayman, they've run territories, so they know every aspect of the industry. So it's like, okay, they're in a position where you can listen to them, and it's not like certain managers that have never taken bumps or never worked or had psychology, but Paul had that, still has it, still passionate about it, Paul has that unique ability to make you freaking hate him. Like he's just, it's just something about him. It is a gift that people just want to smack him.
I felt like the last couple of years, Paul Heyman has been a very instrumental part of keeping the storylines going for WWE in a positive direction, with maybe a little bit of the lack of kind of storytelling from some of the talent. He's been able to bring in some of that old school storytelling over the last few years that you could tune in just to see what Paul Heyman was going to do.
Yeah, he has that ability. I mean, with his facial expressions, like if he's got just a prime example, and this is the things that gets lost. Just the example sometimes of he's going to have to tell Roman something that Roman isn't going to want to hear.
Yeah.
You can see it in his face long before he says anything.
Yeah.
Right? That's storytelling.
And before he starts talking, you as the fan are on the edge of your seat.
Yeah. Well, how is Roman going to react to whatever it is Paul's about to tell him? And then just the angst and the anxiety that Paul creates within his face, and then the stuttering and the nervous dialect, and I mean that's such a gift that not everybody, they know he's different, but they don't sometimes they don't really understand what all he's doing, because it's so subtle sometimes, but it's so vital to the overall story that they're telling. I mean, and that's probably one of the key roles to being a great manager, is not to you're not the steak.
Yeah.
But
do
you
you
might
think-
be some good mashed potatoes. I mean,
Why are most managers heels, you think?
well, I mean, because so sometimes there's elements to a talent that they're not quite there. They're on the way, but they're missing certain. They're just missing certain qualities that might, hinder them. And then you have managers who can kind of fill those voids with the fact that, okay, you have this guy. Like there's so many different stories. Like, is this manager using this guy for his own benefit? Is this guy, they're accent pieces, and then just some of them are just on different levels.
Yeah.
But you usually have heels managers. The babyface doesn't need help in a bad situation, right? I mean, that's the whole thing of being a babyface, is overcoming all obstacles.
Because your manager's always going to interfere in the match.
Yeah, at some point the manager is going to have a role.
Yeah.
It's going to give you that moment, that extra moment that you need to get your strength back, or after babyface has kicked your ass, or some way to distract or get the referee's attention. I mean, that's just wrestling 101, man.
I want to do a shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks. Download Prize Picks and try it out for yourself. I love using Prize Picks when I'm watching UFC or the NBA or even college basketball. It makes the experience as a fan so much more entertaining to watch. Remember, you're not picking teams, you're picking players. So make sure to get on Prize Picks, use my code 6feet, or click the link in the description to get your first deposit and matched up to $100. Prize Picks.
Do you remember the first time you met Paul?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, he was just as energetic, and
Where was it at? Do you remember?
I believe it was in Atlanta. I met him in Atlanta at TV. We used to do TV. What they call that place? I can't even remember what they called the where we did TV in WCW, but that's where I met him. And hey, baby, I'm your new referee. I mean, I'm your new manager. Oh, okay, all right. And I mean, right out of the get go, man, he was locked on to my hip, and
Yeah.
we traveled together. We did everything together, and and he was working the side channels trying to get me. He was working the side channels to get me in front of Vince. So he was, I guess I'd have got there maybe, but I think he helped accelerate the process.
I think everybody's got somebody that helps get them to a spot, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, I think that's no matter what, there's always people that are instrumental in whether it's just introductions or whatever it might be.
Right.
Of course, you had to go out there and actually perform once you became the Undertaker, but a guy like Paul Heyman to step up and make those phone calls and be that, once again, advocate for you to try to get you in front of Vince and get you that meeting.
Yeah.
Says a lot about him, to where he could see a talent that maybe others didn't see, or they didn't feel like you were that person.
Yeah. He saw the talent. Bruce saw the talent. WCW didn't quite see the talent.
Yeah.
And initially Vince didn't see the talent. But still, no, I'm very grateful for that effort that he made to get me up there, and I'm really looking forward to his speech. I just think this thing is going to be so entertaining. It's just going to be so.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be good, and I guarantee it's there will be some aspect of his speech that enhances the match between for WrestleMania. I just
That's just how he is, isn't it?
that's how he is. He's always on. Like you always have to look at like, all right, are you like back in? Are you Paulie Dangerous or are you Paul Heyman? And then you realize, well, they're actually the same people.
Person,
that's why Paul Heyman is now Paul Heyman. But you know, you have to kind of weed through it sometimes. But you know, that's part of the. That's part of the beauty of Paulie.
And that's what makes him great. And that's what makes him maybe the greatest manager of all time.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the discussion, man. He has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, for the amount of people that he's helped and the things that he's done within the industry, how he came up. I think it's a great selection, and I'm really happy for him.
I'm interested in seeing continue what happens with the bloodline story and what happens at WrestleMania. I mean, you know, I guess at some point Roman's got to lose, and if he does lose, you know what happens there, you know, with
Interesting.
with Paul, and now you got The Rock in there, and I mean it's this. I feel like we're in, you know, like 1999, 2000, 2001 all over again.
Yeah. But you know, that's Roman is champion so long because that storyline has been so freaking good.
Yes.
I mean, head and shoulders above anything else. I mean, if you just look back through the last 3 years of this thing, the ebb and flow of this story between with the twins and just Brock coming back and the whole, I mean, it's just been so many layers to this. Yeah, eventually he's going to lose. And then that's going to be a whole nother interesting dynamic.
Yeah. I would like to see what Paul's move there is and how The Rock plays in there. I see something there.
I don't know. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to imagine that The Rock, although he is now on the board of TKO, I don't know what even that means really.
Yeah.
But you know, it's hard to imagine.
I know what that bank account means.
Well, yeah, there's that, but I don't know what it means as far as Rock being a talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, and I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of weekly booking. I don't care to know. I'm a fan now for the most part. And I try to watch the show as a fan more so than, you know, I'm on the outside looking in now. So it's not like somebody's calling me and thinking, hey, this is what's going to happen or this is what's going to go on. I don't know, but I can't see, I could be wrong, but I don't see Rock being long-term.
Yeah. But God, he's added a lot of value.
Well, yeah. I mean,
it's been fun. So
there's eyes. There are eyes on the product that haven't been on the product in a while because he's on there, and the product right now, even before Rock came on, is just doing, I mean, killer business.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
But Rock has added that whatever ingredient it is to make it feel like we're in that
edge. It's called edge.
Yeah.
He's added an edge to it. Yeah.
And, you know, and because Rock has become a babyface in the real world now,
right.
You know, for the last, decade, 15 years, whatever, to where now it's like, it feels good to see Rock as a heel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's coming out in his $500 shirts and he's doing, you know, all that stuff, right? Like just amazing stuff there, right? And I'm watching it and I'm looking at Paul Heyman just off to the side over here and I'm going, where does this go?
Right.
Because wherever it goes, he's going to play a huge part in it.
Right.
And whatever happens on April 7th, I think is the second night of WrestleMania, whatever happens that night, I think Paul Heyman has a huge part to play in it. I think Rock has a huge part to play in it. And I think that with it being the weekend of Paul Heyman being inducted into the Hall of Fame, there's going to be, I'm not saying he's still in the show by any means, but you're going to know that Paul Heyman was there on that second night.
Yeah. No, there's layers to this stuff, man, and it's really good right now.
And I know you're big on Gunther. I would love to see Paul Heyman with him.
With Gunther,
I know it's a out in left field type of thinking, but I would love to. As young as he is, as good as he is, and as great of a heel as he is, his demeanor, his character, everything, I feel like lines up with a Paul Heyman.
interesting.
I feel like
see
it
what
just
happens.
it's in that.
It's there, huh?
Yes, I believe that he could be. I mean, he checks the box. He checks every box, in my opinion, for a Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just but I don't think Roman's retiring anytime soon.
I'm not saying Roman's retiring. I'm just saying
I don't think he can have too many guys in his stable. Like it doesn't work. There's too many egos there. But
Well, all I'm saying is maybe Paul Heyman's not part of the bloodline. Maybe he's not part of it.
really, you think? Wow.
If he loses, Paul Heyman doesn't ride without a belt. There's titles wherever he goes. And if
You
Roman,
think, you think Roman being Roman like gives him the boot, like holds him
maybe
responsible?
Roman loses, Cody goes over, and Paul Heyman, something on that second night, he does something wrong in the eyes of Roman. He makes a mistake. Paul Heyman pulls his famous, he messes up, causes Roman the match. Rock is pissed at Paul. Rock is in the ear of his family going, this is the only dude standing in this ring that doesn't have the blood.
You've put a lot of thought into this, bro.
Literally over the last 3 minutes of this conversation.
It has all come to you.
Really, it has. But
that's the cool part of being a fan, right?
Yeah, but I'm sitting there going, if Roman loses, Paul Heyman's the only person that doesn't have the blood, and he screws it up for Roman in Roman's eyes, and maybe he really does. It's Hall of Fame weekend. Paul's got to play a big part, in my opinion, of the match. And then if that happens and he gets the boot, and you look at the rest of the talent, who's Paul's next guy? I think Gunther checks the box. He's not going to go to a babyface, of course. He's not going to go, to Cody. Maybe Seth Rollins, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good fit.
And I think, I don't know.
Interesting.
And then maybe Gunther, he maybe finally gets that shot at, Cody's beating him 2 years in a row at the Rumble. And I think Cody is the one that's eliminated him 2 years in a row now. So maybe Gunther goes and calls out Cody. And now you've got potentially a Paul Heyman in Gunther's corner. And maybe he starts a run for the title.
That's interesting, man. Well, I guess
I
we'll
don't
see
know.
what happens. Well, I don't either.
Maybe we're too high on Gunther. I don't know.
No, I don't
think we are.
I don't think we are.
But I'm enjoying the storyline right now, and I'm enjoying what Paul's doing. But I'm watching it, and I'm looking at The Rock is on the mic. Rock has got all the spotlight right now, and Paul's just sitting back here in that back corner. Something's going to happen with Paul at WrestleMania.
Called your shot.
Something's going to happen.
You called your shot.
I've called my shot.
I'm interested now.
I've called my shot.
I might actually go. So I can say I was there.
Well, you know what, man? I am very happy for Paul Heyman, and I know that you are. Yeah. And he gets to join a very exclusive group of individuals that you've gotten to be a part of.
And we'll have to hear about it from now until the end of time. Every time he does an interview, my name is Paul Heyman. I'm a Hall of Fame.
He's always going to put that on there.
Oh yeah.
He's always going to put that on there.
Oh yeah, that's got to. Yeah.
And hopefully there's another phone call that actually happens this year, and it should be for Michelle McCool. But I'm just gonna throw that out there every few episodes that
So they've already named one woman,
Yeah.
Bull Nakano, but I mean, if I start advocating,
Yeah.
I
When's the
can't-
next time it's in Orlando?
I have no idea. It's
Yeah.
in Vegas next year. That's what I think. I think I've heard that.
I think I heard that too.
Good Lord.
Man, I love the Vegas.
You love the Vegas? What is that? I love the Vegas.
I love the Vegas.
I love the Vegas.
Yeah.
Well, last time you went to Vegas, you came back sick.
I had a really good time for the week I was there, though. I got sick afterwards, you know.
Well, yeah,
It's,
that the seedy places that you go is probably why you got.
I kind of want to go where the Super Bowl team, like the football team stayed. Like I want to. It's like 20 or 30 miles away from, or like 20, 30 minutes away from the Strip.
Was that
But
Red
it's-
Rock or something?
Yeah, it's like the Red Rock Resorts or something like that. It's like a Westin or
Isn't that
something.
where Dana? Isn't that where he gambles or
It's
something?
the only place they'll let him. I watched a video this morning about him gambling, during the Super Bowl or whatever, where he literally took like bussing with the boys. One of them made 10 grand, one of them made 30 grand. That's what they wanted to win. They were like, hey, here's 10 grand. I'm willing to lose 10 grand. All I want to do is try to win 10 grand.
Yeah.
And he did it for them. He had their numbers. He made 60. And I guess Caesars still lets him gamble. And he went over to Caesars and took them for 150, he said.
Blackjack?
I think he plays blackjack, yeah. I know for certain that anytime you and I have sat down at a card table, we have never walked away with that. Or I haven't. And I have not seen either one.
No.
I've not seen you walk away with 150.
No. I mean, $1.50.
Yeah, maybe.
And that usually went to the waitress for a tip.
Yeah, I was excited. Gosh, it might have been it's the first couple times I went. I won like $400 at 3-card poker. I have given that back so many times over now.
Yeah, man, it's just if you don't go to now, like with me with silly, like when I was at the Cosmo that night, man, I really wanted to sit down at a table.
Well, that was our goal. Let's
That
go
was our
play some
whole goal.
blackjack.
We went to the boxing match. Let's go play some blackjack, and that wasn't going to happen.
The problem is now for you to be able to go do that, you've got to be in a room that it's going to be, first of all, stupid money. You have to sit down and do that, right? Or they bring, a lot of times they'll bring a table up to your room if you're a celebrity or something like that. But that kind of takes away from it.
Takes
it's
away
fun.
from all that. That's when you have a problem. If you're bringing a table up to
if
your
I'm
room,
bringing a table up to the room,
yeah, you got issues, man.
yeah. But it does take away from it because it's not necessarily about winning the money. What's fun is sitting there BSing, smoking
Yeah.
cigars,
Yeah.
have a drink, play some cards.
Atmosphere. It's the
Yeah,
atmosphere.
it's the atmosphere. Playing
Yeah.
cards with your buddies. And that's where sometimes I know for you wish that you could maybe flip a switch to where
Yeah.
all of a sudden, people don't recognize you so that you can go do that for
Digitize my face with something. But,
and go. You should have been a masked wrestler. That's my.
oh well, I could. It would have been brown, and they would have called me the drizzling shits. But I don't know.
I think was it Texas Red or something. I feel like you could have.
Yeah. But I wore a black mask, so go figure that one out, right?
Man, Kane stole it from you. He stole that red mask from you when you were kids, I guess.
That's why I burn him up.
Let's go over to some fan questions.
Oh, I love fan
Man,
questions.
this is a intriguing question. Yeah, from Big Bad John.
Big Bad John, don't make me think too much because CTE is real, brother.
Yeah, that's it. Hashtag CTE is real. The puppy you received from the Big Show on Smackdown. Always wondered whose it really was. Was it yours? Whose
The puppy
was it?
I received from Big Show on SmackDown. What does he have a year on that? I know exactly what he's talking about.
I can't remember what the year was. You were American Badass.
That was
though.
American Badass.
Yeah.
It was like 2001, maybe.
Yeah. Why did he hand you a puppy?
They were what? They had a gift for me. 'Cause I was, it wasn't real nice. I guess I don't know if he was trying to put me in a good mood. Puppies put people in a good mood.
I love puppies.
I don't know.
Always smile.
Yeah. So I'm thinking he's in the box and open the door. There's a little puppy. No, the way they usually do that is they just they call locally. I don't know whether they call like a breeder or they called SPCA. Like when we used farm animals, they would find somebody that would bring their animals up. So it was always somebody in the production crew that made some phone calls to get people up there with whatever
dog or whatever it's going to be.
But yeah, so that dog, he was one and done. It wasn't my dog. It wasn't anybody's dog on the crew. It was It was a rented dog. It was a rented dog. It was probably going to get euthanized or something.
Oh my gosh!
What?
Lord have mercy, it's a puppy.
If he didn't find a home,
no animals were harmed on SmackDown.
No animals were harmed. That was bad humor.
All right, Big Bad John. Thanks for that deep question into a 35-year career.
I like the hard-hitting, deep stuff.
Yeah, he dug way back. Way back. Yeah, man, you spent your money, the hard-earned money on Patreon for that one. From Fred DeCorte, my question is: was there a match you were not expecting to be good that ended up being good, and vice versa? Was there a match you expected to be good that ended up being bad? So did you have a good match that ended up being bad, or a match that you were going into thinking, this is going to suck, and it ended up being good?
I think, I was extremely nervous going into the WrestleMania match with Batista.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I wasn't completely sold on that he was 100% committed to his role, and I didn't think he took everything as seriously. I was wrong, because I thought that match, I thought it was one of the better matches on that card, and one of Dave's better matches. I mean, he really brought it that night, and I was really pleased with how that match turned out, and I had a whole new respect for Dave after that. But I mean, I was wound tight that day, brother. That was one of those, just leave him alone kind of days, because I was, it was WrestleMania. The streak is now well in play. I think the main event was hair versus hair, Trump versus his hair versus Vince's hair. I believe Shawn, I can't remember who Shawn worked with. I don't know if it was Cena, but they had a killer match too. And so I was like, man, I do not want to be on this show with this many eyes on it and stink out the joint.
Yeah.
And man, I couldn't have been more pleased with Dave and how the match turned out.
Was the nerves because of just you didn't feel like he was just kind of backstage? He wasn't fully
I didn't feel like he was fully committed to the way he should be for his role in the company.
Did you see a turning point after that match?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Have you ever had a conversation with him about that? Where you?
No, not really. We really did become much closer though.
Yeah.
I think that's due to me just kind of letting my guard down. Like, okay, this dude, he does get it and he does want it. And
I wonder if he kind of had a moment of clarity of like, man, I'm about to step in the ring with the Undertaker. This is, the streak. There's a lot here. It's WrestleMania. Or I wonder if someone maybe got in his ear a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I do remember him, and I was like, ooh, because Shawn hadn't worked yet. I don't think at this point, with him coming back and like, he was like, effing follow that, and I'm like, okay, buddy, hit the brakes a little bit.
We still got some Hall of Famers.
We got some dudes that can go. We might want to just let's be happy. Let's be happy because we tore it down. Yeah, so I didn't really expect a lot out of that match, and then a match that I thought would be just freaking stellar was the tag match, me and Kane against Sean and Triple H. You know, Sean coming out of retirement for the one match, and we're thinking you got 4 guys with that much. That much experience and top guys. You think, shoot, we could do this in our sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong in that match. From Triple H tearing his pec right out of the get. I mean, within the first 5 minutes of the match, he's down. Sean trying to do the back moonsault onto the floor onto me and Kane, and coming up short, and then Kane losing his mask. And it was just like, it was just a cluster, and it was so awful that, like, we were all pissed, we were all mad about it, but it was so bad that you just kind of like, you had to laugh, because the odds of 4 Hall of Famer, or
a Mount Rushmore, really. I mean, to a lot of people,
it was just like, how on earth did that just happen? I mean, it was awful, and
they keep inviting you back to Saudi, so it's gotta.
So evidently they don't really care about match quality. They more identify with stars, I guess, because I wouldn't have I wouldn't have let me back in the country after that match, but. So that was the one that I was,
thinking.
I was thinking, this is cake. This is gonna be a cakewalk.
You're gonna feel like you worked.
Yeah, I'm gonna phone this one in, and we got on. It was like the scene. It turned into like the scene from Lone Survivor, when Marcus Luttrell's falling down the mountain and fighting, and all those guys are there. Yeah. And it just they get to one plateau, and then they take a step, and they keep rolling. That's how that match ended up.
That was a tough one.
That was a bad one.
All right. Well, we appreciate the fans' questions. And if you would like to submit a question, all you have to do is go over to Patreon and go to 6 Feet Under with Mark Calloway and sign up so that you can submit a question as well. Mark, Mount Rushmore, this week's topic.
The Mount Rushmore
of finishing moves. You had a couple of right here. We have
we had old school wasn't a finishing move.
Choke slam.
I've used it. Tombstone, last ride.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Not your finishing moves, but finishing moves in the history of wrestling that you feel like are the top 4 that, man, if somebody does it, you can't get up from it. Unless you're Hulk Hogan.
Ah, man, I was going to start off with the big leg drop, too. Shit. Wow.
To perfect that.
Man, that thing was devastating.
I don't know how people walked away from it.
Cripple them, right?
Yeah. I think he lost 14 inches by doing that over his entire career, he said.
14 inches. Good Lord.
He's like the height of Coco Beware now.
And you know who had Coco Beware? He had a heck of a finish. He had that, what do you call it? The Skull Crusher, or what the heck did he call it? But it was like a vertical suplex, but he come down right on their head.
Yeah.
Man, that was pretty impressive.
So your top 4.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there. I'm having to think, though.
I mean, the RKO.
The RKO, that's a good one. Man, the power bomb. Are we talking about the guy or the move?
I think you could probably
put them together.
I think because that's the thing. Like, nobody does a DDT better than Jake the Snake, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'll put Jake on there too. His DDT. Yeah. Before it turned into a high spot was money. I'm gonna have a little bit of vanity here, and I'll put the tombstone on that. I didn't let anybody kick out of that. I tell you what was physical and hard for a lot of guys to take was the was the Sid Vicious power bomb. That was,
It didn't look like that was a fun landing.
Didn't look fun. And I'll go with the Vader moonsault.
Man, if you could have just caught him.
Yeah, if I had just caught him.
I think, man, Goldberg's like that jackknife that he did, especially in his run. Like,
yeah. I mean, there's tons of stuff.
That was a good one there.
Yeah. That was good. Arn Anderson's spine buster. That was money. Just for your own sake. I mean, figure four, brother.
I would say sharpshooter's
got to be in there.
Sean's super kick,
stunner.
Yeah.
The people's elbow was devastating.
Oh man, yeah. There's some finishing moves where the person themselves are the reason why they
absolutely
were what they were.
Yes,
they weren't
100%.
necessarily devastating moves by any means, but I do believe, as much as I don't like to give you too much props, the tombstone is definitely one that I think is.
I got 2 brand new metal knees that prove
now. Yeah. Gosh, yeah. I still, it just pisses me off that when you won the title off of Hogan, when you tombstoned him the first time. God, I wish he would have sold it. I wish he would. But for the benefit of him, not even.
Yeah, for the benefit of him.
More for him.
Match. Yeah,
because it didn't hurt the tombstone. It didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt you moving forward. I feel like for him, God, you go over and you cross those arms.
He kicks out.
And Hulkamania kicks out. Bro, you want to talk about blowing the roof off the place? Yeah. That right there.
I think he got rattled though when on the entrances. We got rattled when I had a bigger babyface reaction.
But he could have. Every one of those fans would have came back to him if he would have done that.
Oh yeah. It was just one of those deals, you know.
Yeah,
that was a Hogan moment.
Because that finisher, that tombstone finisher, you had literally just killed everybody at that point, and then nobody has seen anyone kick out of it at that point.
Right.
And for him to just pop right up, I just feel like, man, just wait a little bit there. Let's get to where you're crossing the arms and people think Hulkamania is dying. You know?
Yeah, he was on a little different agenda.
Yeah, I'm like, man, you got
psychology wasn't.
You got the clean finish. All that stuff is about to happen, and yeah. But hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, another great episode, Mark. Once again, congratulations to Paul Heyman.
Yeah, absolutely. Really excited for Paul.
Well deserved. Great career. Overdue, in my opinion, of becoming a Hall of Famer, and can't wait to see what he continues to do with his career, because I don't think it's ending anytime soon for him.
No, you've actually got me peaked now.
Man, I'm telling you,
I'm invested. Like I was already invested. Now I'm like really invested because you made some really good points for a change.
Hayman Guy. Well, we appreciate our audience for listening. If you guys want some extra content, you want to be able to submit questions, head over to Patreon to 6 Feet Under with Mark Calloway to be able to become a member and be able to submit questions. Also, if you want to get some merch, head over to 6feetundermerch.com. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel or go over to the merch and buy some merch, you'll get yourself entered in to win the World Heavyweight Championship belt, autographed by yours truly, The Undertaker.
That's a good looking belt.
It is a pretty good looking
belt. The Winged Eagle Undertaker edition.
Man.
I might keep it.
You might. Well, we'll see how many shirts get sold. We want to thank First Form and Wiley X Sunglasses for keeping us going. We appreciate y'all. Mark, I appreciate you. Let's go eat some tacos.
Man, that sounds like a great idea. Let's go.
Thank y'all. See y'all next week.